Grab your print or digital copy of Go Queen magazine today. Stay inspired by the incredible stories and features inside. Visit our website to grab your copy now. Hey Queen, welcome to another episode of the Q Chat. Today we have the incredible Inez X, a pop sensation who's been captivating audiences with her infectious energy and empowering anthems. With her unique blend of pop, dance, and Middle Eastern influences, Inez X is breaking barriers and redefining what it means to be a global pop star. Her journey is one of resilience, self-discovery, and staying true to her roots while embracing her individuality. Join us as we explore her rise in the music industry, the inspiration behind her hit songs, and the powerful message of empowerment she spreads through her music. You don't want to miss this conversation with the unstoppable Inez X.
She's a queen about her business, working hard on a mission. Head high, purpose driven, crown on, never tilted, go queen. Go queen. Go queen. Go queen.
So thank you guys for joining another episode of the Q Chat. Today my very special guest is Miss Inez X. Miss Inez is a Palestinian sensation and she has a new EP that's coming out entitled Lover Girl. And she blends R&B, pop, and a lot of things from her cultural roots. So we're going to talk about her beginnings and things that we need to look forward to with her upcoming music EP and all that other good stuff. And of course, self-love. How are you doing today?
I'm doing so amazing. How are you doing?
I'm so
So amazing
good.
to be with you today.
I'm so happy to speak with you. So, of course, I wanted to talk to you about this upcoming EP that you have. But I wanted to dive first into your beginnings. So, I know like your music blends your Palestinian heritage, and you have like this vibe with R&B, pop. So, I wanted to get into just your upbringing and what began your love with music.
Oh my God, I love that. So for me, I feel like I've always loved all things music and creative and all things that had to do with, hair, makeup, glam, music, creative, like all the things. It's just growing up in a Middle Eastern environment, all of those things were pretty forbidden growing up. They were like not a thing. So I loved all the things that were forbidden for me. But as an adult, I realized like, hey, this isn't really forbidden. This is just something that maybe my culture is still new to. So let me get in it. And I think for me, it's become such a passion of mine to really like bridge those gaps and bring in the culture together, and me being such a New York girl in LA, such an American girl, but being 100% Arabic, Palestinian, first generation American, I feel like it's so important. Like I didn't see enough girls like me and the pop culture, but I grew up listening to all these girls in pop culture, and I just was like, I wish that I could do this, and it became a wish. But then wishes become realities when you put in the work. So I've been putting in the work since.
I love that wishes become reality when you put in the work. Did you have any challenges? Because I know you mentioned your upbringing, obviously. What challenges did you face? Because obviously, like you said, you wanted to do something different, something that was against the grain from your upbringing. So, what challenges did you face and how did you overcome that?
For me, I think as a woman, I've pretty much faced and endured all the things that we don't ever, shouldn't ever want to ever have to go through, suppression, all kinds of things of abuse and things of that nature. And I think for me, I'm such a warrior spirit that the more things that I've gone through, all the things I've gone through in my life have just really, it just builds me up. And it's just that whole, like, the more adversity that I go through, the more it just really brings out that inner fire in me. So ever since I was a little girl, I went through so many different things from never like from family life, troubled family life, I not knowing my father, and just having just a lot of things that didn't like made my identity unclear. And I feel like in music I was able to really create and own and really like cultivate the identity on my own for myself and really define myself. And, even just never feeling like I fit in anywhere, or just always feeling like I never really belonged, or feeling like, I was raised Christian and Muslim, and these, just so many, like, just being so torn and feeling torn. And I feel like doing what I really love and feel like fulfilling my purpose has really like brought it all together for me, and like connected those dots and been like, okay, this is why you've gone through all of this, so you can really understand people and really see different perspectives and really like be able to relate to anyone. So I think now I realize that going through all of those things, no matter what, has really cultivated who I am.
That's awesome. I love it. I love how you use, the bricks that were thrown at you to build your purpose. So I do love that. So I want to ask you about your music, of course. What were some of your musical influences? Like, were there any particular artists growing up or even currently that have influenced you that, not that you have maybe, I guess maybe infused their style or they inspired you with what you have right now?
Yeah, so I think for me, the most inspiring artist to me as I've been cultivating this new era has been, well, my favorite artist is Michael Jackson of all time. Michael. Oh, Michael. But like Aaliyah she's really inspired this new era, especially she's always inspired me my whole life. But I've like love all of the Arabic pop stars, but growing up I've always loved the American pop stars and was most inspired by Beyonce and Britney and Aaliyah and Selena and all of those girls. And I think that now that I'm cultivating who I really am artistically, all of those little remnants have been inside of me. Like, like there's some moments where you feel like the Britney and that pop element that you see, because I love Britney Spears and I love the pop world, but I loved, Beyonce, and I loved all of the things. And, like my Tina Marie was really like an inspiration for me. Like a lot of like different soft voices like Tamia and like different things for Lover Girl was like really tapping in with like softer R&B. And like just kind of like the song Lover Girl, the title Lover Girl, was inspired by Tina Marie's song Lover Girl. So it was just really like tapping in with like older R&B or the Y2K vibes and like what I grew up really loving and the energy that I love. And it was important for me to own that in with owning my Arabic culture and kind of infusing those together.
And I love Tina Marie, so thank you for that nod to Love a Girl. That's old school right there. Like I said, I love, love, love Tina Marie, and Love a Girl was something else. So that's cool.
Period.
Love when new music can pull in from the elders. So I think that's a good thing. And then it broadens your range with your audience for sure. Because like I said, I'm definitely an old school R&B head. So just mentioning Tina Marie alone just definitely makes me happy. And then with Lover Girl too. So I think that's amazing. So speaking of music, I know you have a single entitled Goddess. So I wanted to ask you, what was the inspiration behind that song and what message were you trying to convey with that? Because I know, like, obviously, this is Go Queen. So, Goddess is something as well that, I just think it's great, to just give to the ladies. So, what was the inspiration behind that?
Period, honey. Period. It was such a thing for me. It was so a thing because goddess energy all of the time, period. The inspiration, the true inspiration behind it all was I love God. I'm a very godly woman. I am humbled by the graciousness of God. But God made us in the image. If we are made in the image of God, God is both man and woman, masculine and feminine, and just acknowledging the divine feminine for me was really important. And I think as a divine feminine woman, I really wanted to create a world, a movement where, like, you know, God's whole God loves women. Like, mother nature and just like mother all the things, like mother everything. It's all mother, and like plants are feminine and cities are feminine and all like the moon is feminine. Like all of the planets are feminine. So I feel like really acknowledging the divine feminine for me was like everything, and it was crucial for me to acknowledge the divine feminine inside of me and that goddess energy, and learning that, we didn't only pray and worship that the male figure. There was a point in time where we also worshiped women and goddesses, but obviously it's a very male dominated world, so they don't want that. And I feel like I really wanted to acknowledge the goddesses. I really wanted to acknowledge the goddess energy, the divine feminine, and never take away from the divine masculine. It's so important to acknowledge both as being in the together we need both, you know. But I think part of my purpose is to always acknowledge how important the woman is, the divine feminine, the mother. And I think that goddess really gives that, and it really owns that, and I really wanted to really go there with it. So I really, and I feel like coming from, you know, my roots is, you know, Arabic, Middle Eastern, being that I feel like we come from goddesses, but I just wanted to really acknowledge, like, as an Arabic woman, I want to really own this and be this, and I want women to feel this. And no matter what your race is, I want you to feel like a goddess because you are a goddess, period. You know, like that was the whole thing for me. So I hope that I did that.
Yeah, and I want to ask you again too, with your roots and your cultural upbringing, how important was it for you to like fuse and blend that in your music? And how do you approach that? Because I know, like you said, you have your R&B roots and you're from New York too. So, how do you guys approach that? I guess in the studio when you come up with things to make sure you have that blend. And how important was it for you to make sure you throwing your roots in there too?
Girl, that is a great question. It really is. It's a great question because that has always been my challenge, is really incorporating my roots and my culture with everything, and doing it in a way that's still cool. You know, doing it in a way that's organic and still cool and still sounds good and isn't too foreign and isn't too, you know, because you know, as an American girl, it's so important for me to, you know, I want to always make a mark in where I'm from, which is like technically really America. Like I always want to be known in my country, America, but I also love being Middle Eastern, being Palestinian, and I also want to make my mark in the Middle East, of course. So I think for me, it's like that blending the Eastern and Western worlds is actually one of like the hardest things ever. And for, you know, producers and writers, it's something that I've been working on for years, like since I started doing music. But finally, I feel like I found that kind of like happy medium and happy balance. And then for me it was kind of like I had to go all the way. Like I was only owning Middle Eastern sounds and all my stuff, and then I was like, all right, like let's tone it back a little bit. Like let's hone it in. It doesn't have to always have it, but and then I finally found that happy balance, you know. So now the project has some of it, some Middle Eastern sounds, and a lot of urban pop R&B mix and blend, which is like really what I've been trying to accomplish for so long. Finally, we've done it.
That's awesome. And I think it's cool how, like you said, you are giving homage to your roots too, and just having that nice balance as well. So I can imagine that it is challenging, but I think it's really cool how you making sure you still fuse that in as well. So I want to ask you too, so you're known for some of your advocacy work as well. You support a lot of causes, including multiple sclerosis, LGBTQ rights. How important is it for you, to be an advocate for these causes right now? Because I think sometimes it's so easy for people to want to conform and not necessarily speak up, for underserved causes and things like that. So how important is it for you to, be an advocate and be a voice for those things?
I mean, you know, like God has blessed me with having multiple sclerosis myself. I will say it's a blessing now because, you know, I used to think it was a curse and I was like, God, why? But you realize that everything is happens for a reason. So I feel like now it's been a really big challenge for me. I haven't been able to talk about it for a long time because I was just dealing with it. And now I'm finally able to talk about it and use it because I feel like everyone is struggling with something, and they need to know that not everything is like, when they know that you're dealing with something, you don't know who you're helping in that process. So for me, I have MS. It's been one of the hardest things that I've had to deal with in my life. And I feel like now that I have been really overcoming it more than ever and really like just being a true survivor through it all, and just my day to day has just changed so much, and just really just dealing. I think that for me, it has become everything for me to really start talking about it more, owning it more, and being a voice to people. I think for a while I was scared to be seen as a sick girl and things of that nature. But I think after we've dealt with things like the pandemic and the whole world has gotten sick and dealt with being sick, we have to like deal with how to deal with being sick, you know? And I have a lot of tools and things to give to people of healing and how I've learned to heal myself. So I think for me, it has become everything. And I think because I care about my fans and my supporters so much, I want them to always feel like they know me. And I want them to always feel like I'm giving them like me, not just like the fake sides or the superficial sides, like the real sides, and know that like, oh my God, she's going through this. I'm going through this. She's just like me, and like she's making it, she's killing it. I can too. You know what I mean?
That's something else. And I love that. I love how you said that you were blessed with multiple sclerosis. And I think if that's a great mindset, that if we can look at something that we think is a hindrance as a blessing, that's really taking, like I said, the bricks that are given with you, they're given to you, and building with that is finding purpose. And I just love that mindset that you called it a blessing. And I just think that's great. So I want to ask you too. So just dealing with that, and I know I can imagine just being an artist too. Because like I said, you have the spotlight on you, so it's different. So what are some ways that you also cater to your mental health? Because just being an artist and you have other things that you're dealing with outside of being an artist, obviously you have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of you. So what are some of the ways that you cater to your mental health during just everything that you're dealing with, and you're building something great too? So how do you cater to your mental health through everything?
That honestly has been like a full-time job for me, catering to my mental health. Like honestly, it is like a whole side full-time job. I'm not even gonna lie because I've made it as such, and I think that for me it's like health is everything. And, seeing my health kind of like deteriorate from something like MS and me having to heal myself, put it back together, and truly mind, body, and soul do a healing process has taught me like like mental health is everything. Your mind is everything, your brain is everything. It is limitless. You can literally manifest anything you think of. And I think that we all have like this really big adversity that we have to deal with in life. And I feel like this is mine, Like I have MS, literal lesions in my brain, like someone that like I'm obsessed with manifesting things. I'm obsessed with the brain. I'm obsessed with figuring out the power of the mind. So this is like my dichotomy, like literally. And I feel like, when you overcome something like this deep, it makes you really truly feel like, wow, like nothing can stop me kind of thing, But when you're going through it, it just is just rough. You know what I mean? So I've adapted so many healthy habits. Like I'll go to the spa, massages, gym, Pilates, yoga, like anything for the body that I can do. Mind, body, soul, like, meditation, therapy, like a lot of therapy. You know what I mean? A lot of meditation because I feel like we go through so much trauma in life and we don't deal. So we kind of like I've been going through so much therapy and I constantly do so. So I think like every single part of me is like, whether it's like something for my body, something for my mind, or something, but like every day I have to do something because when you have a terminal disease, if you don't do something every single day, you feel it and it catches up to you immediately. And I like to think of myself as like, I'm like a warrior. I'm not going to let anything stop me. And I want to be stronger than someone like, when I first got diagnosed, it would make me really upset when people would be like, "Oh, well, I'm thankful that I have my health," and they would make me feel like I don't have my health because I have MS. So I had to like make myself be like, "No, I'm gonna be stronger than you, even if you don't have MS and I have MS, I'm gonna be stronger than you." Like I have that competitive spirit. So I kind of use that to my advantage, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna let this stop me. You know what I mean? Like it's not gonna be the thing that kills me. I'm not gonna let it stop me, and that's the only mindsets that I have adapted. Because in those days where I'm like, it's gonna take me out, like, yeah, I have my good support system of people who keep me together because I have those days for sure often where like I can't make it now. Like I'm done. It's over for me. Because I'm human. You know what I mean? I'm human. It's real. And then I have my support system, which is everything for mental health, having that good support system.
Mm-hmm. Man, and you're right. You're human. So, and I think that's the thing, that healing has so many complexities. So, when you tell someone that you're healing or you have a positive mindset, I think they're waiting for you to have a bad day. So you can be like, oh, I thought you were healing. So
No, dead serious?
can't be
For
upset. You
real.
can't, like, no, like, you're human. Healing doesn't mean that every day is going to be perfect.
Right.
It's your mindset, and it's just the fact that you don't sit in those bad days for too long, or you're making an effort to will yourself out of it. So I just love what you said, and I know that's just going to touch someone to inspire them, because we all have something that we're dealing with. And I just love how you acknowledge that and you're transparent with it. You don't have any shame behind it too. And like, I definitely commend you just for being so, like, for me, just hearing this, I just feel like it's just so positive, how you look at it. And I think that's great. And you're also transparent because we're human. Everyone has bad days, or they have days where they're like, they may have, why me? But then, once you think about it, like you said, that it was a blessing because you're a living testimony. So I think that's amazing. So I
Oh,
did.
I got chills from that girl. Oh.
Oh, you you touched me. So like I said, I thought that was beautiful. So I wanted to ask you about music, of course. So you're as a first generation American, you're one of the few Middle Eastern artists in this R&B pop game. So I wanted to just ask you because I know you're breaking stereotypes just by being you and you're bringing something different because right now music sometimes tends to sound generic when you turn on the radio, so you're bringing something different. So I want to just ask you, just within the industry, are there any challenges that you may have faced? I know you mentioned just coming together with that blend, but have there been any other challenges that you face in the industry, and what have you done to overcome that to achieve the success that you have?
I love that question, literally, because I feel like, you know, being in the industry, you deal with a lot of things that you like you wouldn't expect to deal with, like dumb things. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like, well, you meet people and like, sometimes like earlier on in the game, they would always act like the Middle Eastern thing and like wasn't working. It wasn't as like I guess as much of a phenomenon, I guess, as it is now with everything going on in the world. And I think as Americans, we're like, whoa, there's all this injustice in the world. We have to acknowledge it more. But I think also a part of that has come a long time. But earlier on in the game, I remember a lot of people used to be like, well, there's no Middle Eastern girls and it's not going to work. You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason why there's no Middle Eastern girls. It's not going to work? And you're too provocative and you're too sexy and it's not going to work because, the whole culture is not that and it's not going to work. And they're always trying to nitpick. People always try to nitpick on why you're not going to work. Da, 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 right? And then they go and then they try to find something just like you, you know? Like that to me was like one of the funniest things, like, because you hear about that going on, you hear other artists talk about that and you're like, nah, they're lying, like no way, like that's not true, like no way, you know what I mean, like no way. But it's true. It's real. Like this industry really is like that. It really is like that. Like they'll like try to act like they don't whatever, you're not gonna work or why you're not working or whatever. And then they go try to make another you. So that to me was like, oh yeah, then I'm working then. Then you know what? This is working then. You know what? Then you know what? This is gonna work then, actually. Like, cause that just gave me that affirmation. So sometimes I have that, you gotta have that kind of like energy, the things that people try to take you out or people try to always act like you're not it or you're not good enough or whatever. And I think that, you got to have that inner spirit and that inner energy and just pray. I pray a lot. Like, I'm like, God, I feel like I'm that girl. Like, what's up, God? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like that prayer. And then that you have that energy that comes to you. And then God will give you those right people who do give you that affirmation. Like, yeah, you are good. You know what I mean? So I feel like I also, when I get that energy that I don't like or don't appreciate, I rebuke in the name of Jesus. Like, I do not want any any energy around me that is not for my well-being and not for my greater good. You know what I mean? And vice versa. I constantly want that. So I think that's important to constantly keep that boundary because if not, people will really get in your head with that stuff. And I think that people always try to get in your head in this industry, and it's not always for the greater good. Most of the time, it's not. So you got to keep people around you who get in your head for the greater good and really want to see you do better and see you do well and won't try to do no weird things like that. You know what I mean?
Mm, girl, look,
Mhm.
you better preach, okay? You didn't say nothing but a word. So keep on preaching. So one of the things I do want to ask you with Go Queen Media, we focus on self-love. Self-love is the fuel that gives you that confidence, the fuel that say, hey, I belong here, the fuel to just go ahead and overcome those barriers. And it's just the fuel to have a different mindset. Like I said, your energy is amazing. So I want to ask you, how do you define self-love and what role has it played in your life?
You have the questions. I love these questions. They're great. Wow. That's a great question, honestly, because it's very important, especially where I am right now, and especially with Lover Girl. Like Lover Girl, all the songs on Lover Girl I made when I was pretty in love. I was in a relationship, and that has since ended. And I feel like I really had to teach myself how to love myself again. And, you kind of, when you're in a relationship, you build a dependency on that person, and you build like you sometimes, without trying, love them so much that you put their needs and their things before you. And I think that for me, my relationship with God and myself had to have become number one, because when you lose that person, you feel like you lose everything and you're losing yourself and you don't know who you are. And I had to really get to know myself again. And I'm like still like kind of in that process, but I kind of have been learning to love every part of that process again, like learning what I like we're constantly evolving, and I think like learning what you like, what you don't like, who you don't like, what you like to do, what you don't like to do, I think that for me that has been like a crucial part of my process and been a crucial part of like this whole lover girl thing, because like lover girl for me, yeah, I made it when I was in love, but the whole thing has become really like loving myself and putting myself first and putting that love first for myself and like really realizing that as a lover girl, I'm all these things. As a woman, I'm all these things. I'm a lover. I'm crazy. I'm hot. I'm sexy. I'm wild. And this, and that, and all these things that they put on all these things. But that's what makes me a woman. That's what makes me a thing, great woman. This, all the things that I want to be. You know what I mean? So I feel like I've just like kind of like taken it all and put it all together and connected the dots. And now I'm like, yeah, this feels good. And it is like learning to love all of those sides of you. Like, oh, you're so crazy. I hate that. Da, da, da. Well, I love my crazy side, B. I'm sorry you don't like it, but I love it. And I'm trying to calm her down, but I love her. So it's like, what's up? I'm going to learn to love her. You ain't going to tell me nothing about me that I don't know yet. You ain't going to tell me that I got a crazy side. I know that. You know what I mean? Who doesn't? You know? And I love her. So, like, whatever. I love all of me. You know what I mean?
Right. I love it. I love it. Like I said, your energy is amazing. I really love it. This has been an amazing conversation. I want to ask you, can you I don't want to put you on the spot, but can you give an affirmation to our audience? Just anything that you like to share with the audience to just give them confidence or just to make them feel good. Do you have any affirmation you like to share?
Oh my God, yes. I love that affirmation. I am abundant. I am successful. I am amazing. I am beautiful. I am a child of God. I am love. I am everything. Amen.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for this conversation. Tell us, what can we expect next? I mean, of course, you have this EP that's coming out, but just what can we look for? When can we expect it to drop? Are you going to be hitting the road? Just tell us everything you can tell us about what can we look for and expect in the future.
Yes. Oh my God. So many exciting things. The EP is coming out officially September, and we officially not announced yet, but we're going on tour by November, which I'm really excited about. So that's just the first time I said that to you. So that's a little, but like literally, I'm so excited about everything coming because this is my first official project that I'm dropping. So I'm like, this is crazy. Like first official project, first official thing. So I'm so excited. And then honestly, I've really been passionate about getting into the movies more. So more on that. I want to get more into movies. Like the music and the movies is a thing. So more on that soon too. Coming soon.
And also, I want to ask you, are there any artists out there that I saw that Snoop Dogg was following you on IG? Are there any artists that you have on your wish list to work with? Or any ones that you have already worked with that you had a great experience with?
Honestly, there's so many artists that I have like I would love to. I worked with my dream producer. Timbaland is my dream producer, and I worked with him. So that was my but like dream artist, Kanye West.
Hmm. Okay.
Kanye West and dream producer. Like when I work with Ye, I made it. Like I really made it then. No, like literally, because he's definitely like one of my favorite artists, producers, writers. You know what I mean? And I think like for me, like I have this essence. Like people be like, "Oh, you look like Kim," but inside me, I'm like a Ye. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, like tread lightly. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But yeah, I think Kanye West for sure. And just anyone though, right now. I think right now I'm like kind of on that like let's collab more. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to like really like shape my own identity for a while. And I think that now that I've done that, I'm like really on my like collaboration. So we have a couple collaborations coming that are really exciting. And then we have a lot of things, a lot of good things coming. But when I come back on here, I'm going to tell you that I did that Kanye collabo. I'm manifesting it.
Awesome. And I'm going to hold you to that because you just said you're going to come back. So don't
Yes,
forget
I'm
about
coming back.
it. So thank you so much for this conversation. This has been Miss Inez X. Please tell everybody how they can find you on social media. Give everybody all your socials.
Oh, yes. Follow me on everything possible, all the DSPs and socials. INSX, INASX. Mwah, thank you for having me. This has been so amazing. You're amazing. You're a beautiful goddess. I've loved it.
Thank you so much, guys. Remember, this is Miss Inez X. Make sure you guys go follow her and be on the lookout for Lover Girl that is coming out later this year. And just remember some of the gems that she dropped. Like I said, your energy is amazing. So just remember things that we think were given to us to harm us. sometimes God gives it to us because He has a mission. He created that thing just for you because He knows that if I give this to her, she's going to use that voice. She's going to have a testimony. She's going to save lives. She's going to tell people how I touched her life. So just remember some of the things that we have that we're facing with, we all have a thorn in our crown and we all have a cross to bear. But sometimes that thing, that one thing that we think is meant to harm us, it was really created for our good because we have a mission. He doesn't make any mistakes. So He chose you to bear that cross because you have a mission, you have a word, you have a purpose. So just don't forget that. Don't forget to hold your head high. So thank you guys for this conversation. Thank you again, Ms. Inez X. And remember, you
Thank
guys,
you.
you can catch this episode and more, www.goqueen.com. Make sure you be safe and go love yourself.
She's a queen